Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Hi, everyone. This is Eartha. Welcome back to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. I'm so happy that you are joining me today. I would love to continue to share some information on the series of Sculpturing Authenticity by Releasing the True You. And I began this talk last time when we used the metaphor, or I shared the metaphor with you regarding the Italian sculptor Michelangelo, and how someone asked him how did he create such a complex masterpiece, and they were referring to the masterpiece sculpture called David. And Michelangelo responded, I see David in the marble, and so I chip away the excess pieces. And so I invite you to go back to that podcast, refresh your memory, or if you haven't heard that the first part of this series, I invite you to go and listen to it. We have some really great dynamic information in there, and we're going to continue on. Before I continue on, I would like to thank Web Talk Radio for allowing me to have a platform to bring Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast to you. And thank you, Mary Lou and Sam, for making Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast available to my listeners wherever they go. Okay, we're going to continue our sculpturing. As a brief review, we talked about things that take away from our authentic self, and these marble slabs, like to refer to them in keeping with our metaphor, keep our true selves kind of buried, and it's based on our true values of ourselves, our true strengths of ourselves, and our self-talk. And we talked about false ideas of happiness and kind of falling into a trap of fitting in to a concept of happiness, which is unrealistic. Also, we talked about negative and critical beliefs, negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations about the future. What is the future about? We don't know, and that's why it's called the future. But if we put some effort into creating our future by our knowledge or participation, the future changes. But if we keep ourselves stuck and hold ourselves back because what we perceive in the future, maybe we have such negative self-talk that we're really preventing ourselves from moving and progressing forward. And the last thing we talked about that is a slab of marble that prevents us from coming forward with our true self is a strong motivation of fear that keeps us at a certain level away from our true self. Our motivation is based out of fear and not out of love for ourselves and love for our true values. And so we're adapting and molding ourselves to a world. And I think that this kind of goes back to the previous elements that I was speaking about. We're molding ourselves into a world that's really not realistic. So with that being said, let's continue on. How do we chisel away the the excess marble. In keeping in line with Michelangelo, I had mentioned before in our first session that I see him as a visionary. You know, a visionary can look at something and they can bring out the beauty and the possibilities. So we know ourselves, and deep down inside, maybe we have kept ourselves a little bit contained. And so we've talked about things that keep us contained. Now, let's explore ways and things that can kind of chip away at some of those things. But I ask you, before we go forward, explore this question. Are you ready? 3 words. Are you ready? Bring your awareness to how it makes you feel to begin to learn and to begin to be open to information that can bring you to your true you. Take a moment. Explore, how are you feeling? What's going on with your breathing? What's going on with your emotions? What do you notice? Do you notice any changes in your focus? Are there any distractions coming into your thoughts? Is it uncomfortable or is it comfortable? And so, just taking a moment, a mindful moment to be aware of the right now and kind of do a check-in. Are you here? Are you with me? Are you ready? And let's continue. Thank you for participating in that little mini mindfulness moment. I brought that little bit of an exercise in our discussion because I think, and is supported by PositivePsychology.com, that as we bring forth our authenticity, I think is also valuable to bring forth our awareness of what is keeping us from becoming our true selves. It's a mindfulness skill of awareness. And I think that's the first step. So now let's go to the next step. It's noted in PositivePsychology.com that Michelangelo used some form of awareness to realize what needed to be removed. And so this process of looking at something, in his case, a piece of marble, and realizing what's inside the David, what needs to leave out to the outside is the excess marble. So in order to begin to come to our authentic self, it's suggested that maybe we should begin to make choices based on our authentic self, to use our values of our authentic self, look at our strengths of our authentic self, and raise our skills and our energy. And this may take a little time, because if we're buried underneath all the marble, we may have to take a few moments to ask ourselves, wait a minute, what is my values? And what are my strengths? What are my skills? Look at ourselves and realize the behaviors that I am I am doing, does it really support my true self? I'd like to just emphasize and just put a plug in for mindfulness. With learning and taking time out, as you're doing with me, as we move through this together, we are almost like doing a self-assessment, doing a check of where we're at, and almost like looking at a mirror and saying, okay, am I keeping true to myself? Sometimes through different experiences, situations, we are so busy, or we develop such habits, or we wind up in a spot that is so low that we are not only away from ourselves, but we're in a different world. And it's not until we have reached a wall or a deep bottom of a pit or challenges that we wake up and we realize, wait a minute, what am I doing here? How long have I been doing this? Personally, for me, I totally get this because I remember the days of being really a workaholic. And I think part of that is one thing to work and work for a purpose, but it's another thing just to busy one's day so that one doesn't face things that's going on. I know there's a fine line because, you have a mission to make, you got patients to see. And so I think this mindfulness practice, this awareness practice, and using relaxation, breathing, keeps us grounded so that we don't lose ourselves and we can conserve our energy and we can build our creativity and discover maybe gifts that we thought we had, but we never had a chance to explore those gifts. And so with all that, it builds our ability to relax and to build positive thoughts and positive self-talk. So sometimes, using this mindfulness practice, and as I'm speaking with you, it almost like refreshes our thinking. At the same time, maybe we have to reflect and be willing to chisel away some of the things that's been keeping us away from ourselves. And that may in itself take some practice and take a breath and realize that this is a very brave thing that you're doing, that I'm doing. And step away from that motivator of fear to hold us back. And so the next step, as far as chiseling away the extra marble that's holding us back, is our actions. So I said all that to say this. It's our actions, everyone. It's acting like the authentic person who we really are. And I don't know, but this thought just kind of came into my mind. I'm not really referring to a behavior of saying the first thing that's on your mind and, being impulsive and doing the first thing that comes up. That what I'm referring to is when we are aware of our thoughts and aware of our actions and then reflecting on what kind of me am I? And how am I using my positivity to express myself? Sometimes our frustrations our words and our actions don't reflect who we are because we don't know how to get it out of us. It's been trapped in ourselves for so long. And so touching base with that intrinsic part of us, not being motivated by money or gifts or prizes, but being motivated by the excitement of being you. Take a breath, blow it out, and realize I am still me. Wow. So our actions, starting with our actions and being aware of our behavior that is in line with our true values, our authentic self, and being brave to express ourselves and share our gifts, to share our happiness, to bring peace into that inner part. It's like a relief, Wow. Well, thank you so much. I hope this made a little bit of sense as we bring our time to a close. I encourage you to practice, maybe, a couple of minutes a day or a week. Wow. Chisel out some time. Maybe that's the next step is chisel out some time. Look at what is keeping you away from you. Start with a few moments and then build on maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just enjoy your time, and then share the gifts with others, the gifts that has always been within you. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today, and I looking forward to our time next time. Have a great day.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy, unlock new creative paths, transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.